Hello, welcome back to the Everything O Challenge. It hopefully you've had the opportunity to watch my day one video because that'll just kind of give you some insight about what these videos are all about and why I'm just talking about myself aimlessly, which is so unnatural and not like myself at all. So I never talk about myself. That's the whole point of these videos. So watch day number one. And then hopefully when you watch day number two, you'll have a little bit more information. So I'm just going to jump right into day number two. I was sitting here on my couch thinking about what am I going to talk about today? Like, this is going to be super hard to do for 30 days. Let me just say that because I don't talk about myself. But hopefully, I'm going to, come out my little shell and think about some things that I can share with you guys. I will say this about these 30 days. They're not all going to be, just me sitting down talking. I want to do a couple of vlog style. So some of them will be like me going through my day-to-day life. So I want to take you guys along with me on some days, show you guys a little bit behind the scenes. So hopefully you stick around and I don't bore you to death. Um, and you come back and watch more videos because even if you don't come back, like I said on day one, number one, it's not that serious because I'm really doing this for myself. So I was thinking, am I going to do this chronological? I'm going to start like, oh, this, whatever. I don't think I will. I'll probably jump around a little bit, but because this is the second video, it only makes sense to talk about, where I came from, how it all started. So I'm just going to start there. I'm not going to be saying, oh, giving you every detail because that's just boring. I'm just going to touch on some points, but I think more than anything, this is going to just, I'm just going to be sharing more than I ever really share outside of my friend group. So I was born in Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm from Florida, the sunny state. And I grew up there. I was born in Daytona Beach, Florida, but I went to elementary school in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Whenever I say I'm from Daytona Beach, Florida, and I'm around my friend Kurt, she just gives me such the side eye, and that's because I say I'm from Daytona Beach, Florida, because that's where I was born, but I technically lived in New Smyrna and Daytona probably like half and half. I moved to New Smyrna Beach when I was about 4 or 5, right before kindergarten, and I stayed there until 7th grade, and then I moved back to Daytona until I was in 12th grade or whatever. So it's kind of half and half, but I went back and forth between the two frequently because they're just that close. It's like Charlotte and Indian Trail or something like that for the people that live in this area. They're super close. They're like 15, 20 minutes away from each other. On one side of my family, my mom's mom, she lived in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. My dad's mom lived in Daytona Beach, Florida. So I was always between the two cities or towns, cities. Daytona Beach is a city. New Smyrna Beach is a town, I think. Whatever. So yeah, so that's where I grew up. I went to Chisholm Elementary. I am number one of 8 children. On my mom's side, my mom has 8 kids. My dad has 4 kids. So I have 10 siblings in all. I come from a huge family outside of just my immediate family. My family is just pretty huge anyways. My grandmother had 13 kids. I have an aunt that has 10 kids and aunt that has 4 kids, and some uncles. Some of my uncles have like 1 or 2, but most of them, then I have other uncles that have more kids. So I come from a huge family, just basically. So I was raised with my cousins, like my siblings. So I did have outside friends, but honestly, I really didn't have to have a ton of outside friends just because I had so much, like, you know how they say your cousins are your first friends, you're kind of like built-in friends. It was really true for me because we just grew up together. And so yeah, I would say coming from a family, or my mom having 8 kids um, it was pretty. I would say growing up, I had to be super responsible because I had 7 siblings underneath of me. So I always had to make sure that they had what they needed, that I helped my grandmother or my mom, where wherever I lived at the time, with my siblings. So um, I was always known as like the responsible one. Even out of my cousins, like my cousin that's around the same age as me, we're always like the ones in charge of all the little ones. So that's just how we grew up. So that was just a huge responsibility. I think that is why I'm pretty responsible and dependable now at a older age, because I've just always had to be that person, that rock. Um, and then as far as like when I think about, who I was raised by, like my grandmothers, they were pretty instrumental in my life because on one hand, I lived with my grandparents, my grandmother, my maternal grandparents, and then on the weekends and through the summers, I would spend with my paternal grandparents. So they were both pretty heavy in my life. They pretty much shaped me into who I am today, along with my mother and my aunts and my uncles. I feel like I got little bits and pieces of them all for the most part, or I was able to learn like lessons from them all. So I feel like I was blessed in the way that most people, they only get to really experience maybe their parents or parents and grandparents, but um, I had experiences with, my whole family, and I spent time with, them all. So if I was living with them or, just spending time with them or summers with them or whatever, I just had, huge influences through them. Um, as far as like the whole reason why I'm doing this video is just to kind of like come out my shell, and I sit here and try to think like, how did I even get in this shell? Like what if I analyze like what do I think caused me to be, more reserved? Obviously, I'm just born this way, but I feel like mm, I don't know. I don't know what I feel like that. And also, I just want to I also want to say with these videos, they're going to be so raw and uncut. I might pause, I might think they're not going to be polished just because that's how I normally make videos, right? I don't make a ton of videos, but that's how I normally do my lives. When I go live, I always kind of know exactly what I'm going to say because that's just how I work. I work better just knowing what I'm going to say. So this is so out of my comfort zone. Just like before I got on here, I honestly did not have any idea what I'm going to say. And I would never do that. Never, never, never do that. Just because I'm always like, okay, what am I going to say? Because I'm just not a natural speaker. So I really need to know exactly what I'm going to say for it to make sense because it's just not a natural ability that I have. Now, granted, I have a bunch of talents, have a bunch of gifts, so I'm not lacking. I don't feel like I'm lacking in that area, but it's just not natural to me. So that's why I prep and write down stuff. People are like, "Oh, you gotta write it down." Yes, I have to write it down because my mind will just be floating. I have more of a creative mind, so I'm always constantly thinking, just kind of creating things, and that's my problem sometimes. Like I want to create what I'm going to say before I even say it. It's insane, I know. But that's what I do. So that's the whole reason behind me just coming on here just ranting about myself just randomly. But I, I if I think, go back to what I was saying, if I think about like how did I become reserved, so self-editing, I don't know. I will say that my mom played a huge part of me being like quieter, because she was just so loud and rambunctious, if I can say that. I mean, she was just very outspoken. Like, she knew everybody, she spoke to everybody. Like, we could not drive down the street. She would be like hailing everybody left and right. And I'm like, do you really got to talk to everybody today? I mean, we have one job, and that's like to go to the store, not talk to 5 to 10 people in between, you know? And that's how she was. And if I think about when I was younger, I mean, it was kind of embarrassing, because I'm like, who don't you know? But she was just that outgoing, so I probably pushed some of myself down, like maybe shrink down, just because I felt like that was embarrassing to me. So maybe I didn't want to be like that. I don't know. I'm just like just talking it through. If you guys have any feedback, just leave comments. Let me know what you think, because I have no idea why I am the way I am. And I'm not saying I'm bad. I just want you guys to really understand that I'm not saying that the way I am is bad in any way. I'm just taking this time to, like I said in the first video, I just realized how much people did not know about me. And then I also realized how much I will just self-edit myself, and if I want to share something or share an opinion or something like that, then I wouldn't do it. And I'm just trying to like figure out, why I'm like that, and just kind of break out of that habit a little bit. I don't know. God was just kept laying this on my mind, so I don't know why I'm doing this. But obviously God knows why I'm doing it, because he kept placing it on my mind. He kept placing it on my mind, and I'm like, what can I do to help myself overcome this, or at least walk me through it. What can I do? So I just figured this was the best way to do it. This was the scariest thing to do. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it. So I don't want to keep these videos too long, because I'm going to be doing it for 30 days. So I guess this video, I can say that you learned like where I'm from, the size of family that I come from, the close-knit of my family, and kind of a little bit why, just like a little bit of my self-diagnosis of like, maybe one of the reasons why I'm not so loud and outgoing is because I just thought it was embarrassing. I got embarrassed easy, by like my mom, just her personality, and then my grandmother's, their personality were similar to mine. They were a little bit more peaceful. Now, my one grandma, she was a minister. She founded a church, so she was very outgoing when it comes to like preaching, talking about the Lord, evangelizing. She was very outgoing when it comes to that. But just in general, she was a little bit more like peaceful and reserved. But when it came to like the word, then she was all in. And then my other grandmother on that side, on my dad's side, she was more like me as well. But once again, she was an Avon lady. So she sold Avon for over 30 years. She was good at it. She was known in the community. She is one of the reasons why I serve now, because I learned that is a learned behavior that I got from her. So she served her community. She took me along with her to serve the community. And so that's where I picked that up from. And then my other grandma, obviously, she served the community as well. But, we would go every Wednesday to feed the hungry. And so that's where I kind of like picked up those things. So she wasn't like, she obviously would speak to people. She knew a lot of people. Like I said, she was known as the Avon lady that people knew her all around, Daytona Beach as well. So they weren't that quiet. So that's kind of how I want to be like. I want to be like when it's time to be peaceful and sweet and quiet and whatever. And I'm gonna be like that. But I also want people to know about me. Like I want people to know about me. Like I have I have a hand in several businesses, and people are like, "Oh, you do that? Oh, I didn't know you do that." So that's why I'm doing these videos. I hope you learned something about me through this video. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer from this video, be sure to just leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel. I don't have any videos other than these two videos. So, you know, maybe I'll make other videos after this 30-day challenge. I don't know. But what I do know is if you subscribe to my channel now and click the little notification bell, then you'll be notified for my next video. So yeah, I hope you have a blessed day, and Jesus loves you. Bye.